Good morning, ReLaunch Real Estate Podcast listeners. Patrick Keller here. It is a beautiful day here in March in Indianapolis. For those of you across the country that are listening, I hope that your weather is beautiful as well. Obviously, it's March, so the market is crazy. As you all know, the market has been crazy up until this point in the year. It was crazy in January and February. And so I am all alone today because I really wanted to dive into the nuts and bolts of one particular topic, and that topic is getting your buyers' offers accepted and doing everything we can. This is the hardest thing right now in real estate. When you are a buyer's agent, you're representing buyers, getting those offers accepted, okay? You guys know that our podcast really revolves mostly around stories of agent success. Okay, today I really wanted to bring you some real valuable hints on how to get those offers accepted. So I'm going to jump, right into it. We've done the research here at CrestPoint. We have brainstormed like crazy. Our Monday meeting was wrapped all around individual agent stories and brainstorming of what has worked and what has not worked in regards to writing offers. I'm going to tell you what we have figured out, and then I'll also tell you some tips and tricks that we have brainstormed and put together on how to get those offers accepted. So this one's going to be a little shorter and sweeter today, but really diving in to the value, the meat, the juice here. Okay, so here we go. What do we know about offers that we have placed in our brokerage? So the first thing that we know here in Indianapolis and the area surrounding is that on average, agents in our brokerage are writing 4 offers before their offer gets accepted. So we're swinging at about 25%. Okay. I've heard some stories across the country, talked to people across the country about how they're writing 10 to 12 or maybe 15 offers before their client's offer gets accepted. For us, we're right around 4. So it's either our technique or it's either our buyer pool. We haven't dived into that, but we like to think it's our technique. Okay, and I'm going to share with you our technique here shortly. Also, we know that in this area, offers are being accepted at 5, 10, sometimes even 15% above list price. I'm putting list price within quotes for those of you who are not watching the video version of this podcast, because I'm going to talk about the idea of list price right now, later on, okay? But in general, all offers obviously going above list price. We've seen them as high as 15% above list price. And also, we are seeing that we are losing out still on some offers when we are waiving appraisal and waiving inspection or going as is, okay? We don't ever like our clients to waive inspection. We'll do as is versus waive. However, that is an option. We're still losing, okay? Sometimes we're winning. Sometimes we're losing. This is what we know. What kind of clients we're working with. So we broke that down. We have a range of below average price point, and above average price point. We have people looking for new construction and losing. We have people looking for pre-existing and losing. Okay? We have people who are aggressive, and we have people who are not aggressive. And I'm going to talk to you about those people here very shortly. Okay? So this is the range of people that we are working with at CrestPoint, and on average, we're getting them a home under contract within about 4 offers. Okay? So let me jump into this next section. What kind of client should we be looking for right now? Now, that sounds crazy because some of us we're looking for any client, right? We're trying to get any client under contract right now in this crazy world, especially buy-side clients. But the kind of clients that we should be looking for are those in which have reasonable understanding and expectation of how this market works. Okay, so what I'm advising, and this is pretty common sense, but agents don't do this. Okay, if you guys get a buyer lead that's talking to you and ready in the market, you have to you have to have a buyer's consultation in this market. You have to, okay? Even if they're a second or third time home buyer, you have to have a buyer's consult, because they don't understand that what you're getting ready to ask them to do is going to scare them, okay? When you give them advice on how to write an offer, they're going to look at you like you have two heads. They're going to look at you as if you are a sleazy salesperson just trying to get a deal. So you have to have a buyer's consultation in which you talk about, and do it via Zoom, do it on the phone, whatever works for you. Do it before that first showing, okay? You have to talk to them about waiving appraisals or going above appraised value. You have to talk to them about buying a house as is versus a full inspection contingency. You have to talk to them about being flexible in possession. You have to talk to them about buying homes that might need a little bit of work, or looking at homes that are in lesser price points than what their max pre-approval is. You have to talk to them about these things and setting that up so that you are not wasting a ton of your time. Okay, this is these are the conversations that we're having with our clients, and this might be why we're putting clients under contract in 3 or 4 contracts versus 10 to 12, because we are taking this step in our buyer's process. So those are the clients that we are looking for, those that are educated, that understand what's happening, and that are continuing to work with us after that. Okay, when you're having that conversation with those buyers, you're telling them all of these things. At the end of that, you need to ask them, are you guys comfortable with still pursuing a house in this kind of environment? You'll have buyer clients that say, ooh, this sounds crazy, I'm going to wait. I literally just talked to a really good friend that I'm trying to help put into a house who said, you know what? We might just wait, because I don't know if I'm comfortable being in that environment. And I said, Drew, I totally understand that. I totally understand that. I totally understand if you need to rent for another year and see if that market cools down. I was totally okay with that. Did not try to put him into a situation where, hey, you could still try, or, maybe we should keep trying because I know you guys want a house. If he's not comfortable and they're not comfortable, and a buy-side client is not able, willing, or comfortable to do the kind of crazy things that it takes, don't go after it, okay? Don't try to put a square peg in a round hole, okay? Don't try and show them 4 houses, write 5 offers, and lose out just to try with them, okay? You're going to get them really upset. You're going to waste their time and their energy. They're going to associate this with a bad experience with you, and you don't want that, okay? Just because you're busy as a real estate agent, meaning going on lots of buyer appointments with a buyer who's not necessarily ready to jump into a market like this, doesn't mean that you're productive. Right? So don't do that. So ask the clients at the end of that consult, is this something that you're comfortable with jumping into this kind of market, yay or nay? Okay, if they commit to yes, then that's the kind of client that we want to be working with right now. If they say no, this is a client that you might be putting on the back burner for a little bit, or only looking at properties that have been on the market for a week, 2 weeks, a month, instead of hot, right off the press listings, and with multiple offers. Okay. Also, we are trying to work with more new construction clients. Here's the dilemma on new construction if you have not experienced this. New construction, that world is experiencing the same thing. A neighborhood might have 30, 40, 50, 100 buildable lots, and then they have 2 or 3 times that in demand. I just talked to a local builder today. They have 70 lots in their neighborhood. They have 200 people interested in building in those. Okay. So we do want to work with new construction clients because the inventory is better there, better in quotes, okay? Not necessarily as many multiple offer situations, etc. However, builders are just not taking new construction contracts because they themselves cannot keep up. Okay? So there's a dilemma there. How do you navigate that? My suggestion on new construction clients is getting them in front of the salesperson, getting them through that new construction's financing, okay, showing the new construction company that they're willing to use their financing, the construction company's financing, running through everything so that when a contract is ready, you have a great relationship with that salesperson and they should be the first person that you call. Also, we need to be calling those sales reps at new construction companies and creating a really great relationship with them because they will send you their coming soon inventory, the spec homes that they're getting ready to list, okay, versus you just waiting for them to hit the MLS. A lot of new construction companies are not taking the new construction contracts, like I said. They are putting them in the MLS just like we would when they're a couple months out from completion so that they get the same scenario of multiple offers. So if you have a great relationship with a new construction salesperson, you can get in first place in line and potentially secure it before they were to put it on the market. And they're more likely to do that than a pre-existing client would because they would rather new construction would rather know that they have a really strong buyer who's actually going to close versus one who signed a contract 6 months ago and then you double check their credit and they can't close and then now they have a spec home sitting with no buyers. So new construction is more likely than not to put you under contract in a coming soon status than a pre-existing, if that makes sense. Relationships, that's all I'm talking about. Building relationships with the new construction person. So your new construction clients, if they are considering new construction or they want new construction, figure out what neighborhood they want, call that salesperson, run them through everything to be ready, and make sure that you are on their coming soon list. Okay? This is all basic stuff, but you have to do these things for your buy-side clients. Don't just wait for the MLS to bring it to you. If you've done that, you're already behind. Okay. Now, nuts and bolts of writing offers and what is working. The first thing I will say, and I heard this just yesterday. I didn't come up with this methodology myself, but the first thing that I would say is that typically, I loved this. I heard this on another podcast, the Real Estate Rockstars podcast, which I highly recommend. I would recommend talking to your clients while you're writing the offer, before you're writing the offer, and saying this. Traditionally, people looked at you as a buyer versus a seller in negotiations. Okay? Buyers would say, it's me versus the seller. I want to try and give the seller what they want, but I also want to win a little bit. That is not the environment now, okay? You have to tell your buyers that when they're writing this offer, that they are not competing with the seller. They are competing with other buyers, okay? That's a mentality shift now, okay? So instead of the buyers thinking, okay, I understand I might have to pay over list, but I'm only willing to maybe go this much because I don't want that seller to win. I don't want them to win that much, okay? Now you have to take their mindset and shift it to, you are competing with other buyers. You want to beat them now. We're not trying to beat the seller here. We're trying to beat these other buyers. That small mindset shift can make a huge difference in what a buyer is willing to do to purchase the property. Obviously within their comfort levels. Okay? Obviously within their comfort levels. So that's the first thing you have to do, is do a mindset shift with them. This is not you versus seller. Okay? Then we have to talk about list price with our clients who are wanting to offer. Okay? List price now is not a gold standard. List price is really just something they're putting on paper. It's not actual worth. Okay? So a lot of buyers look at list price as hey, this is probably what this house is worth. Okay? As you guys know, real estate agents list properties either under what they're truly worth or more than what they're truly worth or right at what they're worth. We have to be having the conversation with our buy-side clients that a home's worth, property's worth, is what people are willing to pay for it right now. And back it up. That's what a house is worth. So if your clients start to write an offer, you have to say, listen, this list price is just a starting point. It is a guideline because the agents have to put something in here when they're listing the properties. But this house is worth what you and everybody else that you're competing with are able and willing to pay for it. And back it up potentially with extra appraisal cash. So what is this house worth to you right now? Is this I can't miss out on this opportunity? Or is this you know what, I'm fine if we don't win kind of thing? Okay? So let's ride on that for a second. That's a really interesting place to be. I've had clients that are in that position within the last week. Oh man, we like this house, but we're okay if we don't get it. Okay, we'll keep looking. Is that worth writing an offer on? My suggestion to you guys, especially as seasoned agents, if you have a buy-side client that's not a referral, maybe they're a lead, an online lead, and you took them on the first, second showing and they're ready to write an offer, but they're in that situation, we're kind of okay if we don't get it. My advice is to still write it. However, advising them that all of the things I'm getting ready to tell you, how to be aggressive, how to go get it, and advising them that if they don't pony up, it's not likely that they will win, but you're willing to give it a try, okay? Because here's the reality of what happens, okay? They probably really do like that home. You probably didn't get their mindset shifted enough in the realm of they're competing with other buyers versus other sellers, or the sellers, I mean. Probably didn't get that mindset right. They're probably going to lose this one, and then they're probably going to be more aggressive on the next. Okay? That happens a lot. Also, if you're not willing to write that offer for them, so I have agents that I've heard that literally say, if my clients are not willing to waive appraisal, and if my clients are not willing to waive their inspection and go incredibly aggressive, then I'm not even going to bother writing it. You guys know the environment of our business. It's possible that client goes somewhere else. So if it's first time writing an offer, you're going to have to go through all the things that I'm recommending with them. If they are not willing to be incredibly aggressive, you have to tell them that it's probably not going to work, but you're going to do your darndest to make sure it does. And they may have to just miss out on one. And then they'll realize, you know what? This guy was right. This girl was right. She wasn't blowing smoke. She was legitimate, and we believe him now. They may have to miss out on one. So anyways, I'm riding on something else here, but going back to list price, you have to have the conversation of list price is just a number that they have to put in the MLS. It's not the actual worth of the property right now. Okay, the next thing that you have to do, so you did that mindset shift. You talked to them about competing with other buyers. Now it is a mindset shift in list price versus actual worth. Okay, now you have to have a conversation with the listing agent. Everybody's been talking about this. This is standard. I'm going to tell you the things that I think you should say. So, a lot of people call the listing agent, the poor listing agents, sometimes I'm getting 20, 30, 40 calls on my listings. I cannot keep up, okay? Sometimes, and every time, it's, what's best for your seller? What kind of possession would they like? What kind of offer can I write that would win? And that's really as deep as most agents go. And we're all saying the same thing. Okay, we're all saying the same thing. Well, it's highest net, lowest asks, potentially some possession stuff here or there, but everybody's willing to do that now for the most part. Okay. And, real solid financing or cash. We all know that. We all know that that's what it takes to win. These are the things I think you should ask. I think you should call the listing agent, and I think you should say, hey, we're getting ready to write an offer at this. Is that going to work? Is this price going to work? No? Okay, tell me what is. What price is going to work? If they're not willing to tell you, make them a little uncomfortable. Okay, well, if 235 is not going to work, is 245 going to work? Is 250 going to work? And sometimes they might still not tell you, but their tone will change. Okay, they might say, "Oh, well, I can't tell you, but you definitely should try that." That's an indicator. Okay, you have to specifically ask them what is going to work in regards to price, what is going to work in regards to possession, and you have to throw it at them. Okay, 235 is not going to work. Is 245, 250 going to work? Oh, okay. I'm hearing that 250 might be good. Okay, is that right? Oh, okay. Now let's talk about possession. They're thinking about giving your clients a 7-day after closing possession. Will that work? How about 10 days? 12 days, 15 days. Do they need to rent back? Okay. My clients are thinking about going as is. Is that going to be good enough? My clients are thinking about waiving an appraisal at $10,000 above whatever it appraises for. Is that going to work? Okay, get very specific with them instead of just asking what the seller's preferences are. The seller's preference is always to make more. That's what it always comes down to. Okay, so, and that's all they're going to share with you. So ask them specifically what you are writing. Okay, push that envelope. All right, so appraisals. Okay, so the next thing would be you have to talk to your clients about waiving an appraisal if they're able to, or bringing extra cash over the appraisal. This is pretty standard. A lot of people know this now, but if you haven't done this, I'm telling you that you need to be doing this. Okay, you need to put on an addendum to the purchase agreement that your client, or in the further conditions of a purchase agreement, your client, if they're willing to do this, is going to bring X amount over a low appraisal in the event that it doesn't appraise. You can leave it at that. Or you can protect your client a little bit and say, up to the agreed upon purchase price, so that they're not paying over what they agreed upon. That's pretty standard, but you need to be doing that. Okay, so I had a listing a while back, about 15, 20 offers on this thing. Okay, sifted through every one. Out of those 15 to 20, there were only 2 that did this appraisal language. Okay, so if you're doing this appraisal language, you're going to be in the top 20, top 30% of all of the offers that are in front of them. So you need to be telling your clients those kind of things. Okay, if you guys add some appraisal language, which you're waiving the appraisal, or you're bringing a certain amount of cash over the appraised value, you're probably in the top 20 or 30% of these offers. You just went from good to great. Okay, are you guys comfortable with doing that? Do you have the cash to do that, etc., etc.? The next thing would be earnest money. Okay, I've heard of this. You don't have to tell your clients to do this, but this is just a thing. In your offer and the further conditions, you can say that we're going to give you an earnest money deposit now that's non-refundable whatsoever. You can even say we're going to write the earnest money check to the seller to deposit now that's non-refundable. Okay? Just because of Indiana or your state-specific templated purchase agreement says that the broker is going to hold the earnest money doesn't mean that they have to. Okay? You guys know that real estate, you can negotiate pretty much anything, right? A seller might be willing to accept your offer over another just knowing that, hey, I could pocket $5,000 right now. Maybe that'll help me with my moving expenses, or maybe that'll help me with the down payment that I'm making on a house that I'm buying. Okay? Your clients have to be comfortable with this, obviously. This is a good idea of, hey, Just another thing we're doing in this really competitive offer, listing agent. We are saying the seller can have this earnest money right now. It's non-refundable. It will be applied to the purchase price. Here you go. Next, inspections. We can waive them. We can do them, or we can go as is. I think your clients need to be considering as is right now, or if they're doing the regular inspection language in Indiana, that you cap what you're going to ask for in inspection repairs in a dollar amount. Buyer clients are still wanting a full inspection. However, they will not ask the seller to repair anything over $500 in the home. The seller is capped at $500 in repairs. As is amazing. As is a little shaky on the sell side, but it's like, hey, it's nice. You're not asking us to do any repairs, but you still have the opportunity to walk. So that might be a really good combination to do an as is plus non-refundable earnest money. Giving that seller a check that they can deposit right now. Those are some ideas. Obviously, with writing offers, don't ask for home warranties right now. Don't ask for closing costs right now, unless the property's been on the market for, if a month or more. It's just not going to work. Okay? If you have clients that are down payment assistance right now, you need to be looking at properties that are on the market for a month or more. These are the only people that are going to talk to you. You might have a hard time getting a hold of that listing agent because they're receiving so many calls. Do not give up, okay? If they're not answering, text them all those questions. Email them all those questions. Do all three. Do your due diligence in getting in front of those listing agents to ask them the assertive, pushing the envelope, aggressive questions that I just, described earlier. Now here's my next idea. Okay. You can't. By the way, this is like common knowledge, but you can't write right now. You can't write first right contingency offers unless, again, the house has been on the market for more than a month, or unless the house is in a market that's not selling very quickly, or a price point that's incredibly high that's not selling fast. First right contingencies are just not working. And here's the reality. I mean, not to get into story time, because personally, real estate story time sometimes goes a little long because us real estate agents like to talk about things. I had a client that I just kind of let go recently because here was their reality. They were trying to purchase a house in the $800,000, $900,000 price point, north side of Indy, which, as you guys know, is higher than average in Indianapolis. So sometimes those houses last on the market a little longer. And sometimes you can negotiate on those. But they had a first right contingency to sell 3 homes. Okay? And they expected sellers to work with them. They had to sell 3 homes before they would, go under a true contract with a seller. And there was one situation where I was comfortable enough to even try. And these people were not willing to pay list price on these houses. So, yeah, as an agent, I'm like, man, $800,000 3% commission sounds really great. However, we tried one time, and the clients just, they couldn't wrap their mind around why the seller just out and out rejected them. And I had to have that conversation with them. And I haven't been aggressively following up with them since, because after the conversation, they weren't really ready to change their minds. They had they set no priority on getting their 3 houses sold first. They still wanted to do a first right contingency on 3 homes. So I'm not aggressively following up with them and showing them houses right now. I might miss out on a commission. I don't think I will. Okay, but I might, and I'm okay with that, because I can't spend 4 or 5 months, 6 months, 7 months showing them home after home after home if they're not willing to do what it takes to win in this climate. Okay, so that was a little story time for you. Now, I want to talk to you about some ideas now to help you secure a home for those clients that are unwilling to do things like that. Okay, the first thing would be start suggesting that they look a little bit outside of their desired area if possible. Start suggesting that they look at price points that are less than what they were willing to pay initially. Okay, so if they say, I think that our top is $350,000, $400,000, they need to be looking at houses that are in the $300,000 price point. Okay, so that they are willing to do what it takes to win. 5% of $300,000 is $15,000. Okay, so if they were willing to pay $350,000 and you have them looking at $300,000 homes, they're probably going to pay $315,000. If it's 10%, they're probably going to pay $330,000. Okay, because that's what we're seeing, 5, 10, 15% thereabouts, and offers that are going above list price. If it's 15%, they're almost up to what they were willing to pay anyway. So you have to explain to them that, okay, if you're looking for a $350,000 house, we need to be looking at $300,000 because you're probably going to end up paying close to $350,000 anyways. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Is that something you're comfortable with? Is that something that you guys are willing to do right now? Yes, it is. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep working on this. No. All right, now we need to shift to looking outside the location that you guys want. Maybe looking in a less desirable area. And the next thing is in our MLS in Indiana, and I encourage you guys to do this if you're listening across the country here. You have the ability to add an additional search field in your MLS for the portals you're setting up for them, and it's days on market. Okay? If you have a client who's not willing to do these kind of things, you need to only be sending them properties and showing them properties that have been on the market. If it's in an average price point, I'm saying 7 to 14 days on the market. So in your search criteria, you're putting 7+ days or 14+ days. Those are those sellers are the sellers that are going to look at a list price or under list price offer. Because on the flip side, those sellers probably had an agent who probably said, oh yeah, your house is going to sell in like a matter of hours. And then now they're 7 days on the market and now they're thinking, oh gosh, we have to settle. We got to do something. This is crazy. Those are the kind of sellers that you want to work with. And that's a whole different experience, right? If you're calling the listing agent on a 7 to 14 day on the market plus listing, they're answering the phone and now they're telling you what it will take. And they're being a lot more aggressive on their end, okay? Because they feel that downward pressure from their clients of let's get this thing sold. Quick side note on that. That's why I don't tell all my sellers that a house is going to sell in a day just because the market's hot. You have to look at the average days on market. You have to give them realistic expectations. If a house in their area doesn't sell, but in an average of 21 days, you need to tell your clients it's probably going to take 21 days. Don't settle and be crazy. Don't be overly aggressive when representing a seller. If it's not their average days on market, do your research. Okay? But do that days on market trick in your portals so that you're only showing your clients the houses that are likely to be negotiable if you're only working with negotiable clients, if that makes sense. And you have to tell them, guys, you're going to see all these pretty listings hit Zillow, and you're going to see all these pretty listings hit Redfin, Realtor.com, and all these things. If you guys see a listing that's 1 day on the market and it's beautiful, and you see how they have got 100 saves and all of these things, and 1,000 views over the course of 24 hours. If you guys aren't able to do the things that I had suggested in our buyer's consultation, let's not go look at those yet. I don't want you to get excited. I don't want you to get your heart ripped out. I don't want you to have to feel the pain of losing over and over again. Just look at my portal, okay? Focus on my portal. Let's expand. Those kind of things. And the last piece of advice is I would talk to, two things. One, when you're writing an offer, and I didn't write this down in my podcast thing, but this is really helpful. When you're writing an offer with your buy-side clients, pull out a mortgage calculator, okay? The Zillow mortgage calculator is really, really good. Pull out a mortgage calculator and put in what they're offering, put in the taxes. Talk to an insurance agent, and you guys should have a good relationship with an insurance agent and say, on average in this area, what is an insurance policy going for a year? Put in the homeowner's insurance policy amount in that mortgage calculator. Put in the taxes. Put in the rate that they've been quoted by their lender client. And you should get a really accurate what their mortgage is going to be after you put their down payment and everything in. Run that for them and tell them this is an estimate. I'm not your lender. I do not guarantee this. However, it will be around this. Okay? And run it for them. And then add $2,000, $5,000 to it. And you'll see, I had a client that based on what they were putting down and their rate, that every $1,000 they went up in their offer, they paid $4 more in a mortgage payment a month. That conversation, just going that extra mile and educating them on it, got them to say, you know what, let's do an extra $5. Okay? Do those kind of things. Don't shoot from the hip. Take time when you're writing these offers. So do that mortgage calculator with them, with the caveat and disclaimer that you cannot guarantee this at any level. But this is what it's looking like, and the numbers are probably really darn close. And the last thing that I would say is talk to their mortgage lender. If you have a conventional buyer who's wanting to put 20, 30, 40% down, okay, have the lender educate them on extra appraisal language and what that would mean to their payment, to their loan structure, etc. If you have a client that's wanting to put 30, 40, 50% down, in our environment with the rates where they're at, it probably doesn't make sense for them to put 40, 50% down on the house, because the difference between 30% down and 40% down in a mortgage is very little right now with the interest rates. So take that extra 10% and use it towards appraisal language. Okay, that's what's going to help them win it. That's what's going to help them move in, accomplish their goals, and their mortgage payment is going to be very similar. Now, obviously, if they're paying over appraised value, you have to talk to them about staying there in a long capacity, in long term, because our market could stabilize, right? It could change. So they might pay more for a house now than what it's worth in 2 years, depending on our market, and they have to be okay with that. They have to be willing to, weather a market shift storm. Okay, they want to be able to stay there for 5 or 10 years, because if the market does change, 5 or 10 years, it probably comes back, based on his history. So, guys, these are all the things that you got to take into consideration when working with buyers, and I hope that this was valuable content. Please subscribe to our awesome podcast. Okay, we've got an awesome growing base of listeners. It's been great to talk to some Indiana agents just about how they've listened and how they've been listening regularly. I continue to strive to bring you valuable content every single week, and so that you can learn what to do to win. Go to relaunchpodcast.com. Subscribe there on all the major platforms. Check out YouTube, ReLaunch Podcast. You can check out our Facebook page, ReLaunch Real Estate Podcast. Okay, ReLaunch Real Estate Podcast. Always hit me up if you have questions. If you need some ideas on how to go about making you more productive, sell more houses in this climate, I'm happy to help. Just give me a call anytime. Okay, my number's 317-364-5858. Just give me a ring. Send me a text message, and I want to help all of you agents succeed, because in a market where the agents know what they're doing, they're highly educated, we can help each other sell more. I believe in that. Okay. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and go out there and win some buyer-client contracts. Take care.